how to deal with insults and negative people. Before I start the topic off, show reel. Pranam, Namaste, my name is Garret. Before I start the topic off, please make sure you guys remember to hit like, subscribe and comment your learnings in the comment section below. I'm dedicated to make 4 videos a week to spread more light and positivity out there to the world. And it's also nice to know where you guys are tuning in from so we can connect within this space, okay? And just before I start the video off, my baby girl is just sitting beside me chilling, okay? She's doing her thing. So she's gonna be producing a little bit of noise, so please bear with me. I can't seem to cut away all this from the ambient sound, okay? I have to look after her ultimately, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's head into the topic. How should we deal with insults and negative people? So know this before we start that, right? We need to know, as human beings, we all come to this world and we all possess 2 natures in us. So our lower nature is one of them. And what are lower nature? Our lower nature and lower instincts basically actually impel us to harbor unwholesome thoughts and unholy desires. So in the past videos, right, I actually mentioned a little bit about unwholesome thoughts and unholy desires. So they are basically things like overeating, greed, anger, hatred, shame, all this guilt, all these negative vibrational thoughts, right? They are the so-called unwholesome thoughts and desires, okay? So these are inside our lower instincts, okay? Wow, we also have another nature, which is the superior nature or superior instincts. Those are what inspires us to embrace noble values and cultivate compassion and kindness for others. Okay, so if you watch enough cartoons or enough dramas, right, you probably might have seen the angel and devil above the head, right? So it's something like that. We all know what is good and bad. So you don't even need your parents to teach you from young. Even if you were taught a little bit and you were socially conditioned to abide by the society's norm, right? You will probably know what is against the law and what is not against the law, what is good and what is bad. So that is something that is instilled with us when we come to this earth. So no need for a lot of teachings in order for you to learn this, okay? So know this, our sovereign duty in our life, okay, is for us to cut away our lower nature and act out on our superior nature or instincts. Okay, so that is the prime goal of our human being on earth. Okay, so let's take this inspiration from the paragon of the Indian industry, Ratan Tata. Okay, so Tata Motors, right, is a large organization, MNC all around the world. So I'm not sure whether a lot of you may have heard of. I think you pretty sure have heard of Land Rover, Jaguar. All these brands are now under Tata. Okay, so Ratan Tata, he took over Tata Motors in 1990. Okay, and when that company was only known as a manufacturer for trucks and buses in India. So most people might think that, oh, you're just a producer for trucks and buses, what's gonna be fantastic about? Okay, so under his leadership, right, Tata Motors in 1998, right, actually launched India's first indigenous design car, which is called Indica. Okay, and initially, right, that response was like lukewarm. People was like, meh, it's nothing fantastic. Okay, people would still stick with some brands like Toyota, all these classical Japan cars. Okay, and in 1999, people actually advised him to sort of sell that manufacturing line away because he's probably not good enough for that whole manufacturing of passenger cars. Okay, so Ford company then in USA had actually expressed the interest in sort of purchasing it from Tata. Okay, so Ratan Tata actually flew to Detroit with his whole board, okay, to actually meet Ford. Okay, so in the meeting, right, Bill Ford humiliated him. Okay, and how did he did that? He said, "You know nothing about the passenger car industry. Why did you get into this line? We are doing you a favor just by purchasing it from you." Okay, and then Ratan Tata was quiet. Okay, he did not say anything, or neither did he get upset or anything. So that evening, he took his entire board back with him to New York, and then from New York to India. Okay, and he then applied himself, and he told his board, right, he then applied himself to the passenger car industry. This time around, shit is about to go real. Okay, and by 2008, okay, Tata Motors was manufacturing some of the best-selling brands in the world. Okay, on the other hand, Ford themselves had got into some serious trouble and was in the brink of facing bankruptcy. Okay, and at the time, Ratan Tata then offered to buy their two worst selling motor cars, which is the Land Rover and the Jaguar. So right now, if you've seen Land Rover and Range Rover as well, and you probably see like Jaguars on the streets, right, know that this belongs to Tata right now, so which is pretty fantastic. Okay, and now Bill Ford flew to Mumbai with his whole board again. This time round, okay, Bill Ford flew to Mumbai to meet Tata. Okay, in the meeting, he said to Ratan Tata, okay, "You are doing us a great favor by purchasing these two from us." Okay, and Ratan Tata could have humiliated him, okay, back, but he actually behaved graciously. So it seems like Ratan Tata is such a gracious person. Okay, he did not humiliate him back because Bill Ford humiliated him initially, right? So in 9 years, right, the clock had turned a full circle, and Tata Motors had humbled the great Ford empire. Okay, that is why a lot of people have said this before: the best form of revenge is success itself. Okay, so if we wish to accomplish anything of value in our life, we have to ensure that we do not allow our lower nature the liberty to manifest itself. Okay, one donkey, take this as another food for thought. Okay, a donkey was tied to a tree. Okay, and Maya Devi came and released it. So Maya Devi, you could call it a supreme, a divine force, okay, or you call it wind, just untying the knots on its own. Okay, the donkey went to the neighboring farmer's farm and grazed a lot of grass out of the farm. Okay, and the neighbor's wife saw the damage and shot the donkey. Bam. Okay, the donkey's owner saw the dead animal and then got frustrated and shot the neighbor's wife. Bam! Again. Okay? The neighbor then saw his dead wife and shot the donkey's owner. Oh my god, look at this sequence. It's like people killing for free. Okay? The owner's sons then came and saw their dead father, and they burned the entire neighbor's farm and house. You see? So a sage was passing by and came to the spot and asked Maya Devi, "What did you do here?" So Maya Devi said, "Nothing. All I did was release the donkey." So remember this, we too have this within us. And remember, all this animal of anger, greed, desire, etc. is all within us, and that we must ensure that they do not raise their heads, because when they raise their heads, that's where we fall back into the lower instincts. Okay, that is why I've actually mentioned, that's why it's said, right, that forgiveness is a gift and that we offer to ourselves first before we could actually give it to others. So we must always learn that forgiveness comes from within. Therefore, once we forgive ourselves, that's where we could be able to forgive others. Okay? Now, like I said before, if we wish to lead a life of purpose, in my purpose video in the past, we must first ensure that we must suppress our lower nature. Okay? Remember this, we have two natures at work within us. Okay? One is of the lower nature, consisting of harmful attachments and unholy desires. Secondly, we also have the higher nature that actually dislikes all these lower instincts. Okay, so you see, it's like counteracting each other. Okay, so impure and unwholesome thoughts causes us misery, while the noble and loving thoughts makes us joyful. So once we help people, we are uplifted. We uplift others, we also feel uplifted. We feel nicer and we feel more at ease and more happy. Okay, you can literally know if a thought is holy or unholy just by the feeling it generates from us. So like I say, all this doesn't need somebody to teach you intensely or immensely. It is already an instinct within us. So you already know what is good and bad just by the social conditioning that you've been brought up with. Okay? That is why the desire to find our inner joy inspires us to raise above our faculties. Okay? And by giving up unholy desires and undignified attachments. So remember this. Okay? And just by doing that, we can develop sublime and uplifting ones. Okay, so ultimately the key to facing any form of negative people or facing any form of insults is to always make sure that we are in the higher nature, superior nature, in fact, that we do not let the lower instincts overwhelm us and we do not take any form of reaction in towards the lower instincts. Always learn to respond in the most appropriate manner and do not take heed towards the lower instincts, because what you focus on expands, and if you focus on the negative, you will propel towards the negative and then you will put out negativity. Okay, so with that, I hope you've learned something from this video, and if you do, please make sure you comment in the comment sections before your learnings. Okay, Pranam, Namaste.